Craving for enchiladas, but not the money to go out and grab some. Well, I'm going to show you today a simple way to make enchiladas at home. It's cheap, simple, and pretty quick. And this is something that my mom has taught me and my brother over the years, and something that we'll send on to future generations. But it is something that is very easy and simple to make. So today I will be teaching you how to make enchiladas at home, and I'll take you through the process of making the sauce, cooking your tortillas, and assembling your enchilada all together. So first, we're going to start off with the sauce, and you just want to have your stove on medium and have the saucepan going. And what I normally start with is chili powder. This isn't actually McCormick's chili powder, I just use the bottle, but you can normally get the little package of chili powder from King Soopers, Walmart, sometimes Safeway has it. That's what you're going to be using. Vegetable oil, salt, garlic, and then your choice of shredded cheese and corn tortillas. Other than those, you only need a saucepan and another pan to put your oil in that you're going to be cooking your tortillas in. I don't have two saucepans, so I'm using a bigger pan. And then for utensils, you'll need 2 forks, a spoon, and a plate to assemble everything on, as well as some water. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and do our sauce. And to do the sauce, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil in the pan. Just a little bit. I probably put a little too much. That's okay. And then you're going to put your chili powder in the pan as well. And you're kind of just going to mix it together so it makes a little paste. Oh, that's probably too high. And I probably put a little too much oil in that one. And you just mix it up, and normally it'll make like a little paste. So you can put more chili powder. Always be careful with how much chili powder you put in, depending on how much you like spicy foods and your tolerance for that. I'm going to lower that a little bit more. But you can always also start with flour and oil, or flour and water, and as long as it just makes like a little paste, and then you can flavor the paste from there. So mine's just a little oily. I put a little too much oil in there. So from there, you're going to go ahead and add some water. Yeah, I put a little too much oil, so just be careful when you do that. But you just you're going to go ahead and put your water in. And depending on how much sauce you need, you can either put a cup or 2 cups in there. And then from here, you add more chili powder to thicken it up. We tend to eat a lot more of chili powder in our sauce, so I tend to put a little bit more in there. And you're just going to let it simmer and cook. I probably had the temperature too high when I started the process, so my pan was sitting here a little bit longer while I was waiting to get the camera ready. So just make sure your stove isn't on super high when you start everything, and that'll help even everything out there. So when you go about, it's going to be a little watery, and here you can add flour to make it thicker, or if you don't want a thick sauce, leave it the way it is. Here it's more of like a tasting and taste testing process, because all you really add to this is your chili powder, your garlic, and your salt, and you let it cook. You can wait till it gets thicker. If you don't like a thick sauce, you can leave it watery. So from here, I'm going to add some garlic, and I'm not good at, we don't really measure, it's more of a taste thing, so if you like to measure, you can measure it out and kind of figure out how much you like in your sauce. But from here, you just taste test to know how much you like, if it needs more garlic or more salt, or more chili powder. I think I'm going to put a little more chili powder. And we just let it cook. And it'll start thickening up. It's a little water right now because I put a bit of water. in there. It just depends on how much sauce you need. If you need a lot more sauce, you're going to put a lot more water. That way you can make a bigger amount and then thicken it as you go. If you need less sauce, less water, thicken it as you go. Same process. So, chili powder, garlic, and salt is all you're going to put in here. And while this is cooking, I'm just going to let it simmer and stir. So from here, we're going to start working on our tortillas. I'm just going to let that cook a little bit longer. But while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and get my oil ready for our tortillas, because that needs to warm up. So depending on how many people you're cooking for, you're going to kind of take a guess at how much oil you're going to need to cook your tortillas. If you have a lot of guests coming over, you'll use more oil to cook more tortillas. And you don't have to have it all at once. You can always add more. It's just like frying tortillas, essentially. So I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm not making a bunch for a bunch of people. And I'm just going to let that get warm and let it cook. Well, not cook, but just warm up the oil. So while that's going, the sauce should be going. Let the oil warm up. You don't want it to be popping and boiling at you. You just want it enough to where if you stick a piece of tortilla in there, you can see it starting to cook or fry a little bit. You'll see like little bubbles, but not like a popping at you, and you'll burn yourself. And we don't want that to happen. So let that go ahead and get warm. And wait. And if you're ever unsure on if your oil's done, and I know there's really no way to tell without burning yourself, what you can do is you can always get a tiny piece of tortilla and stick it in there. And if you see it starting to cook, then it's going. In this instance, it's not doing anything. It's just oil and tortilla. So it's not ready. So let's let that go ahead and warm up a little bit. I'll wait for that to warm up. Stir the sauce a little bit more. And see, mine's still watery, so you can always add some more flour or chili powder to make it a little thicker. I'm going to add chili powder. So we'll go ahead and move that along, and you can see it's starting to thicken up a little bit there. So at this point, depending on how thick you like your sauce is pretty much done. After you've taste tested it, see if you need more garlic, see if you need more salt. It all depends on your tastes, or more chili powder. So that one's good. So at this point, all we're waiting on is oil to start going. I'm going to try my tortilla in there again to see if it's starting to go. It's not quite there. It's starting to get there though. Sometimes it's, if you're in a rush, you can always start your oil while you start your sauce, and that'll get things going pretty good. And that way you don't have to wait for your oil while you're waiting, and everything kind of gets stopped. So we'll go ahead and... Okay, so now it's starting to go a little bit. It's starting to get little fizzy bubbles like a soda, which means, it's trying to cook the tortilla. So, put that to the side. You're going to get your 2 forks. And this is the messy part, so if you're a person that doesn't like mess, I apologize. You can use a spatula. I don't have a spatula currently, but this is the process. So, since the sauce is warm and done, I'm going to put my plate over here, kind of like an assembly line. Put it up there. When you get your tortilla, you're going to put it in your oil, and you're just going to let it, you're going to make sure you get it all soaked in oil. That sounds kind of gross. But it'll start cooking, and you just flip it and let it cook on both sides. And you can kind of tell when it gets cooked, it won't be as floppy. It'll thicken up a little bit, and it'll start. It might have like little puff bubbles on it. So once you're done cooking your tortilla, you're just gonna let the excess oil run off. Put it in your sauce. Put all the sauce on it. Move the sauce. Oh, that didn't work well with mine. I went a little too fast. I didn't go fast enough, actually. Normally you'll have a pretty circle. Unlike mine, that's all falling apart. And then here, you'll go ahead and put cheese on top. However much cheese you like. And then you do the process all over again for your next tortilla. And you can put as many as you like. If you like to roll your tortillas, you can do that, like how they have it at the restaurants. I personally, that's a little bit more messier for me, and it's really hot with the sauce, so I prefer not to do that. Just let that cook a little bit more. That one off. Go here. And if you have a spatula, it's a lot easier with the sauce. Just making a mess. So it is, as you can tell, pretty messy, but in the end it's worth it. And then you can always add more sauce on top if it's not enough for you or if you like sauce. And that is how you make an enchilada. It wasn't pretty, but fairly simple, fairly quick, pretty cheap. Really all you need is cheese, tortilla, chili powder, garlic, and salt, plus oil and water. If you want a quick, simple dinner, if you're in a rush for your family, easy to do, not too bad. So to review, just to go over, you want to do your sauce first, then your oil to get everything going and cook your tortilla. Go from tortilla and the oil to the sauce, to the plate, and put cheese on it. And you can put up as much as you want, or you can roll it. You can even add ground beef or chicken if you prefer. So hopefully this helps you, and you can learn how to make enchiladas in the future for your family. Thank you.